Welcome back to another reading and correcting with me, Kendar, the Tiger Writes, and Ty, the Tiger Supervisor. These are where I read a chapter of one of my books and correct it as I go along. If you want to listen to these live, it's on Twitch every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. And if you want to support me, that's on my Patreon, unless you want to buy the books. Today, we are doing chapter 25 of A Familiar Death. Trembor looked Lamia in the eyes. Will you do this? The sheep hesitated, pulling at the wool on her arm. She opened her mouth, closed it. When she spoke, her voice shook. He won't know I helped. I promise. The lab already has what they need. He won't even know we helped. He won't even know we needed your help to get the results. To get the result. She fidgeted. What do I need? What do I have to do? All you need to do is talk with them. He took out his pad. Marl, I sent you their number. I'm retrieving her file and sending you that. Trumbo saw the number and called it. He kept his pad between him and Lamia. When the voice came on, it was loud enough for the four of them to hear it. Arsego, how may I direct your call? A male asked. This is registered investigator Trembor Golden Main. I have a situation that involves work your lab did and my current case. Just one moment. I'm transferring you to legal. There was a click, a few bars of music he couldn't place, and another click. Arsego, legal department, Glazio speaking. This time it was female. This time it was a female. Trembor introduced himself again, adding his ID for her to verify. I'm investigating the death of a medic out of Great Prairies. He had lab work done by your company before his death, and she cut him off. If the company finished the work, the results were sent to him. I know. We've confirmed that he received it, but we can't find them. The circumstances lead me to believe the killer took them because they incriminate him. Do you have any corroborating evidence? No. What we have is circumstantial at best. That's why we need it. I'm afraid that without any evidence demonstrate that the work the company did is a key part of the investigation, I can't breach the confidentiality that protects our client. I understand. What if the mother asked for those results? Excuse me? Marlot stepped forward. I've sent the patient file to your company, addressed to you. The file number should match what came with the work request. If you check the information, you'll see it's regarding a female sheep who had problems with her pregnancy. She's here with us. Just give me a moment, Glazio said. I'm looking at the file now. A sheep by the name of Lamia Softpaw. There isn't much there, but I do see the request for lab work, and the file number is referenced on the request in our system. Good, Trevor said. Lamia is right here. He nodded to her. Hello? The sheep stuttered. I'm Lamia. Please give me your ID number for verification purposes, Miss Softpaw. She looked at them, confused. My what? Arana rubbed her mouth, but Marlot stopped her. Miss Softpaw is a farmer, he said, in a farming commune. She doesn't have an ID. I see, Glazio said, clearly displeased. Without being able to verify her identity, I'm not sure how I can help you. Marlot rubbed his muzzle. Me and my partner are RIs. You've already verified his ID. I'll give you mine too if it helps. What would we have to gain by calling you and asking for some random test? We're looking to identify a killer so we can get him to pay the tax on his victim. I appreciate that, she replied, but confidentiality laws are in place for a reason. I understand that you have no ill intent, but I can't know that the next RI to request test from us will do so in good faith. Sorry, but without being able to confirm Miss Softpaw is who she claims to be and no direct evidence linking the result to your death, there's nothing I can do. Trevor growled. How about to save a baby's life? What do you mean? Glazio asked in a guarded tone. Trevor hesitated, the word that escaped him before he stopped them. Miss Softpaw was attacked once already, most likely on orders from the killer responsible for the death. We are investigating. He was uncomfortable stretching the truth like that. The baby was going to die. There was nothing any of them could do about it. Tasio gasped. Why would anyone try to kill a pregnant female? Because the baby is evidence of their relationship, Trembor said. The baby's father is mated to someone else. That would continue, and he's someone of influence in the community. I don't know how familiar you are with farming towns, but they're pretty strict about what is and isn't allowed here. If anyone can prove the baby is his, it will destroy him. We believe that is why Medic Naego died, and why Miss Softspot was attacked. He's trying to eliminate any proof there is, and since she doesn't have an ID, he doesn't have to worry about paying her tax. Trevor looked at his mate with a mix of awe and concern at the ease with which he skirted with lying. How he omitted pertinent detail, like the father being a predator, to let the Arcego lawyer assume he was another farmer. She'd have to know how unlikely the survival of such a mixed breed was. But the baby? Clausio sounded horrified. It's the only evidence of what they did. Once it's gone, he's free and clear. Surely someone will raise questions. Not here. Once she's eaten, the only person who will know she was pregnant is her medic, and he's a ram. He won't want to cause trouble over something that's already done. We can only keep both of them safe if we know who the father is. All he could hear was her breathing. Trevor tried to add something about children being important, but the idea to use a child to perpetuate a lie stopped him. Do you have children? Marlot asked. It took her a moment to answer. I do, 2 fawns. Then you know how important it is to keep them safe, he continued. Miss Softspot doesn't have the resources you do. We're the only ones keeping her safe, but even we have limits. Without knowing who the father is, he will eventually be able to get to her, and they will both die. We need to link him to the medic's death in order to protect them, and we can only do that with your help. The wolf paused. You want them to be safe, don't you? Yes, of course, she answered as she typed. Mallow sighed in relief, and Trevor continued watching him. Again, he hadn't lied, but the ease with which he'd manipulated her unnerved him. The typing became more frantic. He focused on his pad instead of his wolf, trying to decipher her mumbling. What's wrong? He asked, more typing than silence. The results aren't in the system. What do you mean they aren't there? Ronald asked. The request is there, but when I use its tracking ID to locate the tests that were done and the results, nothing comes up. I don't know if it's been misfiled or if it's something more. I need to get the support department to look into this. As soon as I know what happened, I'll contact you. She ended the call. Malot cursed. Of course he'd have that erased. The result Niago received contained the tracking number. Trevor stared at him. I don't care how powerful the councilor is. There's no way they got the lab to delete them. Malot shook his head. He'd need to tell them why he wanted it done, and he'd never reveal that. But there's nothing stopping him from hiring a hacker to do it. Lemia looked at them, slowly edging away. What does that mean? Trevor sighed. It means that unless the hacker was sloppy and left enough for them to reconstruct the result, we can't find out who the father is unless you tell us. I will not. I know. Malot rubbed the top of his muzzle. Actually, Trembor started smiling at the thought that occurred to him. There's one thing he hadn't counted on. Lamia is still alive, so we can get the test redone. Will any of the commune medic know how to get the samples? Arana asked. Her medic had to go to the town one, right? He went to Naego because he couldn't figure out what was wrong with her. Mello said. Taking sample has to be simple enough. Any medic can do it, but it doesn't matter. We'll bring her to Jaxco and he can do it. Now, Lamia stepped out of the house and into the backyard and through the open sliding door. Malot followed her. You have to. It's the only way to get him. The sheep spun and glared at him with such defiance he had to stop. Even with how dire the circumstances were, Trembor almost laughed at the tableau of his wolf being forced to a stop by a sheep. I am not leaving. This is my home. I'm not going anywhere. With a growl, Malot reached for her, but Arana cut his arm. She said no, the buffalo said, stepping between them. Malot looked at her, stunned. You can't be serious. We need to bring her. She said no. But you can't force her. She's done nothing wrong. She's the victim here, not the perpetrator. Are you serious? Marlot yelled. That's the only way we have to catch him. You're going to let him get away. Spittle flew from his mouth as he yelled at Arana. Trevor took his arm and pulled him away. Calm down, Marl. There are other ways to get what you need, Arana said, while Trevor looked in his wolf's eyes. The anger there faded, replaced with embarrassment. Get that Jackska to come here. Marlot closed his eyes, and Trevor looked at the buffalo. He's too busy to get away with this from his clinic. Then get one of the community medic to do it, or we contact a different medic. That's going to take time, Marlot said, turning in but staying with Trembor. I'm sorry for screaming at you. Don't worry about it. You're not the first predator to lose it because of me. Marlot nodded. Getting another medic is going to take time, even within the communes, we'll have to find one willing to do it, and there's no guarantee any of them wants to. How about her medic? Trembor exchanged a look with Marlot. Arians isn't going to want to have anything to do with this after the last time, and while we're looking for a medic, the father will be sending someone to kill her. Then I'm going to protect her. Trevor could see his wolf getting ready to argue again, but he placed a hand on his shoulder. This is her case, Marl. If we want to keep working it, we need to follow her lead. The tension didn't leave Marlot, but he remained silent. How about we leave you and Mrs. Softpaw alone while we contact Jexka? He might know someone willing to drive here from the city, and we won't have to rely on one of the commune's medic. Before Marlot had any chance to say anything, he led him back to the house, through it and to the car. Marlot stepped a few paces away from it. I can't believe she's being this stubborn. It's almost like she'd rather die. Trevor made a face at the slur written on the car before turning and leaning back against it. She isn't a predator, Marl. We can't expect her to think like we do. Prey doesn't confront problems with tooth and claws. They hunker down and hope it goes away or run. And where can she run? You said it yourself. This place is protected. If she leaves it to come with us, she's going to have... Really? Okay. You said it yourself. This place is protected. If she leaves to come with us, she's going to have to confront a big, bad world. The big, bad world. The big, bad world. You heard how Rion felt about his time at the academy, and that's what we think of a safe place. Well, outside. We'd keep her safe. She's got to know that. Safer than this place is going to become, anyway. Come on, Marl. You know better than that. She's scared. What does prey do when you have them on the run? When fear is what drives them? They go for populated areas, safety in numbers. No, do they go for populated areas, safety in numbers? No, they head for home as fast as they can. They want familiar sights and smells. They need that to feel safe, even if it means taking a more dangerous route to get there. I wish it was more like Al. Trevor chuckled. He hadn't thought about the rabbit, that hair. That hair for a while. That rabbit's one of a kind. Even having watched him fight, he had trouble believing how willing the rabbit. The hair, I'm leaving it here because it's dialogue. The hair was to take on predators and win. Marlot had fought him once and barely lasted a minute. Trembor had passed on the chance to be beaten up by someone almost half his size. Their hair never spoke when he was at the gym. Marlot had tried to engage him in conversation a time or two. The only way he'd found out his name was by reading it. Holy cow. Oh, wait, right. This is before. Okay, never mind. Yeah, I'm realizing things that happened in book 3 shift things about a little bit. Not enough, I think, that I'll have to fix it. The only way he'd found out about his name was by reading it off the clipboard, where the fighting rings were reserved. I think, Mal began, but a female screamed. Trembor was a step behind his wolf as they crossed through the house. In the backyard, Arana was fighting a cougar and badger, while the tiger and wolf were stalking Lamia. Marlot ran at them, while Trembor went to help with the buffalo. The two of them made short work of their opponent, and when he turned, his wolf was punching another wolf down. Lamia was curled on the grass, and in the ensuing silence, a moan of pain sounded very loud. "We need a medic!" Marlot yelled as Trembor saw the bright blood soaking the sheep's pants. He grabbed his pad and called Urion. And this concludes chapter 25 of A Familiar Death. If you are enjoying this, please leave a like. If you want to know when the next chapter is going to be up, subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to read the book, read the story as well as the other books in the series, they are up. They are available on all major e-retailer. If you want to support me in a different way, that's on my Patreon, where you can also get access to just about everything I've written. If you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. The links are in the notes, and with that, I shall wish you a good day.